The FNRad Snowboarding Podcast is sponsored by Wired Snowboards. I've been riding my Wired Vantage 162 lately. It's a do-anything directional board, hand-built right here in beautiful Vancouver, BC. Go to wiredsnowboards.com and order yourself a Wired board. I was just at their website and noticed that they offer a 3-year warranty. Rob and Pepe use the best quality, environmentally friendly materials to handcraft boards that ride amazingly. Support for the show also comes from the Boardroom Snowboard Shop, your one-stop shop for everything snowboarding. Go to boardroomshop.com. This week I received a box from Burton, and inside were brand new Anon goggles. Anon pushes design, style, and technical execution for snowboard goggles, helmets, and accessories. Check them out at burton.com. We also received support from Dakine Outerwear, Vans Boots, Grouse Mountain, and Tribute Board Shop in Nelson, BC. All these guys help make the show possible.
It was a totally fun time, didn't get too gnarly.
I kind of look at the Mystery Air as an improved evolution of the Switchblade.
Snowboarding is ours.
You know, obviously I like working with Burton.
As an old school snowboarder, you get so used to being treated as a second-class citizen.
And I was like, how do you spell your last name? He said Kelly. And I was like, oh, we should get married. And he's like, no, too symmetrical.
Shin Campos is an OG BC snowboard legend. He pioneered bringing freestyle into the backcountry and was among the first Canadians to regularly be featured in Transworld Snowboarding magazine, which I read religiously at the time. I caught up with Shin in his hometown, Whistler, where they're having an incredibly good snow season. How old are your kids?
I got two girls, 7 and 9, so she's almost 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And they were born here in Whistler?
Yeah, well, in Squamish, yeah. Born in Squamish.
Yeah.
Whistler, Whistler kids, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
They're pretty lucky. They got a pretty good life.
Do they both shred?
Yeah. They're, Cora, the older one, she's in Whistler Valley Snowboard Club. And then Alva, the younger one, she skis. She's a super sick skier, and she's just snowboarding, just starting.
That's a great name.
She's just starting to, Alva and Cora. Yeah, they're just sort of, Alva's just like linking turns now, so.
Rad.
Yeah, but she's a super sick skier. Like, we can go anywhere, peak chair and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's nice to get mountain skills. Yeah. It seems like it makes a lot of sense.
I'm just going to move this.
Yeah, wherever you want. Yeah.
Without looking at that.
Let's go like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I didn't give my kids that.
Yeah. You have kids then?
Yeah. So my kids are 15 and 19.
Okay, crazy.
And I started them both snowboarding when they were like 1,
Yeah.
But really they didn't do anything until they were 6.
Yeah.
So like I would bring them up and I would like physically carry them to like the spots where they could just go straight.
Yeah.
And then carry them down to the lift. The main thing was just getting them comfortable with getting on and off the lift for me.
Yeah.
But my son really pushed to be a skier for a couple of years, and I don't know how I dodged that. I just was like, I don't know where to get the stuff. I told him.
Yeah, actually both kids started. I started them skiing.
Yeah.
It's funny, I've never really skied, so when Cora was first starting, I would like have the reins.
The
harnesses, but I would be snowboarding, so it was a fucking hassle.
It doesn't work with snowboarding.
No, it didn't really work.
Because it's like pulling... If you're a skier, it makes sense. You can always have tension on it.
When you're like sort of holding.
Yeah. But when you're snowboarding, it's kind of I found it didn't work.
Yeah, it was super hard. And then for the younger one, Alva, my wife started skiing.
Yeah.
Just so she could ski. Yeah, because she doesn't ski either. She's a snowboarder.
So she sacrificed to teach the kids.
Just to teach them a little bit, and she took some lessons, and she kind of enjoyed it, but actually, I don't think she skied for a couple years now.
I found the lesson thing because in BC, all grade 5s get 5 lessons for free with the school. That was where the kids just took off with it with snowboarding.
Yeah, actually here too they get I think 5 days for free here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually that's why because Elva's in like a ski program, and Cora's in the snowboard program. But those 5 days, I'm gonna just put Alva in snowboard lessons.
Yeah, and then she'll probably know how to snowboard.
Yeah. Well, she's already was it yesterday? Day before yesterday was the first day that we took her all the way from the top all the way to the
Rad.
Normally it's just like mid-station runs down, but yeah, the other day, so she can like fully start to shred.
So you weren't brought up as a skier in a ski racing background or anything like that?
No, I kind of like my mom didn't have, like, my mom was a single mom, so didn't really have money to go like skiing or anything like that. I skied a couple times in like through school, in actually only in Nelson, like Slocan Valley, where I grew up. And then when I moved at 14, I moved to Surrey. I moved from like there. I moved to Surrey, and then I started I was skateboarding, so I got into snowboarding that way.
Were you a fairly good skateboarder?
Yeah. I can. Yeah, I could. I can still skate, but I don't skate much anymore. I mountain bike. I'm very into mountain biking. So, but I could. Yeah.
And did
I
you
had flip? I had tricks. Now I can. Maybe Smith grinds, maybe, I don't know. I can do heel flips like standing on the ground.
Yeah, like carpet
like
stuff.
To show the kids.
Yeah,
because they get off on it.
But yeah, I'm the same.
But I don't know. And then Cora, the older one, she's into skateboarding, so
cool.
And then I just carve around, and I can do some stuff.
Oh, that's cool that you're still doing it. Yeah, because a lot of people just stop completely.
Yeah.
Usually it's like repeated injuries, and you just go, this is not worth it.
I've been fairly good for that, but it's painful. Yeah, it's hard.
Totally.
And then also I just been super into biking, and it's not that it's not easy, but it's easy to jump on your bike and get out there, and you can get like kind of same like snowboarding satisfied by free riding. And
that's one that I had like a hardtail with like an early 5-inch travel shock on the front when I worked for K2 actually.
Okay.
They were doing bikes at that time.
Yeah.
And I could see it being instantly addictive.
Yeah.
Like if I had a full suspension downhill bike, I think
it is
expensive.
super. Yeah, it's definitely not cheap.
No.
And then especially nowadays with carb, and it's like if you're like paying retail for like a sick bike, it's anywhere $5 to $10 grand.
Yeah, considering I drive a $350 car.
Yeah.
But actually, I just bought an electric car, which is pretty sick. Yeah,
what did you get?
I didn't drive it up here today because there's like limitations to them. It's all electric.
Okay.
I got the Kia Soul EV.
Okay.
Which I've been meaning to say that on air because one of the listeners asked, you mentioned an electric car. Sent me a message, and then I lost the message. I feel bad. So if you're the listener
is that a brand new one?
Brand new. So what happened in Canada, we have a lot of electric vehicle incentives.
Yeah.
And so new vehicle incentives are twice as much as used vehicle incentives.
Yeah.
So and because the demand is high for used vehicles, they're keeping the price up. And so I've just ran the numbers, and it was worth it for me to get a brand new vehicle. I got $11,000 in incentives off the top of the price. And it's got a range of about 200 kilometers, like 220 in the summer.
Okay.
And then that drops to like 180 in the winter because you're using like the heat.
Okay.
Like the last time I drove to Squamish, no heat.
Yeah.
It's got heated seats, which run off the auxiliary battery, which is nice. But that means your back is warm and the rest of you is just kind of freezing. And it's all just in, trying to save that range.
Right.
And then when you go up hills, like for example, from Vancouver to Whistler, it took my full charge to get here.
Okay.
And then on the way back down, it only took 75%.
But when you're going down, does it regenerate?
It regenerates a lot, like fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So like I can get to any of the local mountains in Vancouver, I think it was like 10% of my charge to go to Grouse and back, and more like 25% to go to the top of Seymour and back.
How long does it take to charge?
Oh, God. Okay, so there's 3 charging styles. You can plug into like a 110, like a regular outlet.
It takes forever.
From 0 to full would be like 38 hours or something, like forever. But because I'm using, say I use a quarter charge during the day, I plug that in overnight. It's full in the morning, which is nice. But with the fast chargers, like the regular ones that are all around town for free, full charge is more like 4 hours.
Okay.
And then there's super fast chargers, which are 550.
Okay.
They're very rare, but I can charge from like 0 to 90 in about half an hour.
Oh, okay. But can you use a Tesla charger or no?
It doesn't use a Tesla charger, but it's the other two are like Chad Mo
because,
and the other one.
if you went to you see the Tesla chargers, can you use that or no?
No,
it's its own proprietary.
I don't think the Tesla ones fit. I'm pretty sure they don't. Yeah,
my neighbor's about to he gets his next week. He's getting, it's just like they're just getting off the boat right now. Hyundai Kona.
Yeah.
That SUV.
Yeah.
Still it's only front wheel drive, which is a bit of a shame. But I'm like soon.
I'm going to get the 2020. So my goal is I'm going to trade the 2018 in towards the 2020. I can get the incentive again.
Oh, way.
And hopefully that offsets the depreciation.
Okay.
And I'm going to be kind of at the same spot. But it's got a 400-kilometer range.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, 435. He was saying, which is pretty.
Yeah, because Hyundai owns Kia. I think that's the parent company.
Right.
So it's going to be the same.
Yeah, same platform.
Cool.
He was like heated seats, air-conditioned seats.
Air-conditioned seats as well. Yeah, I have that. And I have them in the front and the back, which is dope. So the kids have heated seats, cooled seats in the summer, and they're really comfy to drive.
Yeah.
The nice thing about the Kia is it's actually that's a car that's been in production for a long time.
Yeah.
So
I noticed the name.
Yeah, and some people that have Teslas have mentioned, because Tesla's not a car company, they're a tech company. Yeah. The cars leave a little bit to be desired. Yeah. I mean, when you're paying $100,000 for a car, so then people are kind of like, well, I want a luxury car. Actually, a buddy of ours bought the Tesla, and then he wrecked the door. Yeah. The door came up, the wing door.
Oh, the exit.
So that opened up into something. It's not supposed to do that. So then he found out that there was a really long wait for the replacement doors, because obviously they're building cars. There's a long wait for cars. So he waited for the door. He replaced the door, and then he just sold it right away and got a Nissan Leaf.
Okay.
And that was for his wife, so she had an electric car, and he just got like a BMW 4 Series or something because he wanted a luxury car.
Yeah.
And I feel like, they already worked out all the wrinkles with the Kia Soul.
Yeah.
It's a good car.
There's
it's
all
easy
these.
to drive.
I know this other girl that just got the new Audi.
Sick.
E-tron, and it's a sick. Yeah, that's like, if I have the fun, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one all-wheel drive?
Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah, and all the Teslas you can get in all-wheel drive as well, which is and they've got crazy range.
Crazy.
And insane how fast they are.
In a few years, like it'll be, 1,000-kilometer range.
You can already see what's going on, because right now electricity is free all over the city.
Yeah, but it's not going to be
not forever. The first one that switched near my house is now evenings and weekends are free, just like an old phone plan, right? Like, so evenings and weekends are free, but peak times during the day,
you have to pay.
You got to pay.
No way.
And so a charge is about, I don't know, $2. Like BC Hydro estimates, it's, what did they say? I'm forgetting it now. $2 100 kilometers.
Huh.
Yeah, so like $20 for 1,000 K.
Yeah, as long as it's way cheaper than as long as the incentive to have a electric car outweighs a fossil fuel car.
I think what they're going to have to do though with the charge times, because that's what I was saying, there are some issues. Yeah. Like for me, I would have had to maybe stop in Squamish on the way up for a fast charge for 10 minutes, and then come up. Yeah. Charge under, it's still free. Right. Just charge over here, and walk over, and then I'd be full for the way down, which would be fine. But I would also be not running the heat on the way up.
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, I'm just going to drive the gas car, crank the heat, you know, and yes, so it's costing me money in gas, but I'm more comfortable.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to stop and fill it up or anything.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
Like,
right.
you don't think about that with a gas car.
Yeah.
It's like full. Takes
That's
10
cool.
seconds to fill up.
That's cool.
But yeah, I think they're going to have to change it to where you go into a charging station and they just put a charged battery onto your car and you switch out your old battery.
Yeah.
That's the only way I see it. Like,
or just some super charge where it takes like
that 550 is like, when you turn it on, it like there's like a huge thing beside it that's just buzzing with electricity. So I mean, to go any bigger than that
well, maybe you never know what kind of technology and inventions happen.
You never know. You just don't. That's cool. So were you always, I have a feeling you were always environmentally conscious. Was that a part of, that wasn't really your...
No, not really. Not really. You know, like, I was like, of course I care.
Yes.
But,
that wasn't your MO as a sponsored
Not
rider.
really. No, not really.
Was Nitro your first sponsor?
No, definitely no. Before Nitro, who did I ride before Nitro? Well, I rode for Luxury Snowboards.
Oh, wow, Paul Cullen.
Yeah. And I
Sick.
had pro model with them for a couple. Yeah, me and Derek Scott and Mike Estes.
Yep.
Mark Castingay at some point. But I had like 2 or 3 different models with them, with him.
I remember
so
those.
Paul Culling, Jackson Snowboards, which is
Mike
Jackson. Yeah. I
Sick.
rode for him at the very, very beginning, just for a quick.
When he had the Thriller shop on 4th there with everything?
Before that.
Even before that.
Grubware.
Yeah.
I think he was still back east.
Yep, he would have been.
Yeah.
How did you get linked up with that?
I don't know. I forget. Yeah, those are the early snowboarding days.
Yeah, what was your first experience with a snowboard? Was it up here?
Oh, no. My first time snowboarding was Grouse Mountain.
Yeah.
And night skiing.
They're a sponsor of the show.
Oh, yeah? No way?
Yeah,
okay,
stoked.
that was like the first time I ever snowboarded was at Grouse. Probably first and last. No, not the last time. But I don't think I've ever been. Maybe I've been there once or twice before, but not really much. But... because, going to high school in Vancouver and night skiing, so we would go to Cypress, and first was Grouse, and then I would go to Cypress at a pass there, a night pass, I think.
The day-nighter probably, right? Like weekdays?
That
was a good pass.
Long. And then also I had a pass at Hemlock.
Sick.
Because I think it was like your buddy bought a pass, and you can get another pass for like $100 or something like that,
sick.
super cheap. So... early days we would ride there and then go to Baker too, and like those were the days when you had to have a license,
certification.
Certification, exactly.
Wow, that's early.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was
early 90s or late 80s even?
80s. It was like 80, 87, 88.
Holy crap!
89. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's epic.
Yeah, so because I finished high school in 90.
Oh.
And then I really did. I was super into skateboarding, punk rock, hard, that kind of stuff. And then come like last couple of years, 89, I was over it. I wasn't going to New Westminster, so I actually took night school for the first semester of 90 to get enough credits to leave in January. So I only did the first semester, and then I left. I graduated.
Rad.
So I had enough credits, and then I worked construction or something through my dad's. When my dad was working in construction at some company, I worked for them for a few months, and then went to Europe skateboarding and just being a dead dirtbag for 4 months.
That's epic.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. By myself, met had some few contacts and stuff, and just tripped around, and then came back and didn't know what to do. But I had a couple buddies living up here. And they're like, you should come up, and there we go.
So that Europe trip was like a gap year, like Because I went to school around the same time.
My life has been a gap year. I don't think it's ever gapped to going back to school.
I moved to Vancouver in '93, kind of right after high school, and Yeah, I thought I would go to university. I thought I'd move back, go to university after a year or two. And then it just did not ever happen.
Yeah, same. I don't know if I thought I would go to university, but I thought of some sort of career post-education. But then, and then I moved here and just was worked in parking at Blackcomb.
Rad.
And then also as a dish pig at the keg.
That's
and
classic.
Then just started just getting into snowboarding and just that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those early Whistler days. It was just like there was nobody on the mountain.
No, there was no snow. We were some of the only snowboarders.
Yeah. Who was your crew back then? We had our Creekside Mob was our crew. I remember
friends.
the Creekside Mob. We've talked about it on the show a little bit. Yeah.
That was like a bunch, I was the more mellower of them.
Yeah, because I was afraid. When I moved out here, you guys had such a reputation that when you'd see someone like Nix, for example, you'd be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Nix was there. He was sort of in the game. But yeah, with all a bunch of friends. And then so who would I ride with? Mikey Orr, Al Clark, Tim and Paul Nelson, was up here, guys like Kevin Young and Mark Morissette and them. They were also living up here, but they were sort of different.
Another crew.
Yeah, different crew.
Yeah,
and then a bunch of other other people, and a lot of people are sort of still here, kind of. Some of them have moved on, and
that's true.
Actually, Akasha Wisegarber, who's still here, makes boards for high tide, makes high tide snowboards.
Rad, I got to check those out.
Oh yeah, really good. Yeah, super good custom make snowboards.
Yeah. It's an incredible place. It's got. Because remember in the 90s, at that point, it was winning Resort of the World every year. Yeah, and it's still it is. Yeah, I've been here for many years. It is a great place. A lot of people will talk shit about it, but if you break through unpeel all the bullshit and all the layers of stuff, it's actually such a good core place, and it's a good community. Yeah, and now that I have kids and raising kids here, it's awesome. Oh, that's sick. And but yeah, definitely it's not the cheapest. It takes a while to figure out, to make it happen financially. And of course. Career-wise too, definitely it's not for takes a while to figure out how you're going to live here and make money and stuff like that. And totally. Some people, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and people move on. And I can remember, when JF Pelchat moved out, a lot of people living in closets or in the woods or under stairs or. Yeah, we did. Yeah, I couple places. One place I lived in a walk-in closet. Another, I just had a mattress in this storage area. Yeah, it's unreal. 3 or 4 places. I lived on a couch for I moved. So I lived here for probably 2 or 3 years. I lived here for about 3 years, and then I moved back to Vancouver for a year and a bit. But I would still live on my buddy's couch, my friend's couch for the winter. But I would I rented a place in Vancouver, and then moved back. Moved back in probably 97 or something, and then What was the big breakout for you for snowboarding? Where did you get? Well, I started at the beginning. We were just snowboarding, and then Eric Berger. Eric Berger's wife, Keely, and me worked together at Umberto's Trattoria. And she was like, "Oh, you should come out. You should go shoot photos with my boyfriend. He's shooting photos and all this stuff." So, he invited a bunch of us, and we went on a trip. I think it was it for Transworld? Well, it definitely was for Transworld, but it was. We went out to Red Mountain and to Whitewater, and then I didn't really have any sponsors then. Maybe I got some clothes from
this old company, Zulu Airwear. Or
Oh,
something
wow, I remember
like that.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, gave me some clothes, maybe just for that shoot or
Yeah.
something like that. And then we went out and we got a bunch of photos, and I think I ended up getting like a whole whack of photos published from Eric.
Oh, that's
in
sick.
Transworld. I was riding a Sean Palmer board, the American flag board.
Amazing.
Yeah, pretty sick board.
And had you bought that, or
Yeah.
were you?
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's
And
epic.
then because maybe I got a bit of a deal from the snowboard shop or something like that.
Yeah.
Ken Hagenbach's back in the day, but yeah, I was just just like everyone that lives here now that comes just working to ride.
I remember meeting Eric through Murray at some point.
Okay.
He was a
Yeah.
senior photographer at Transworld, and he just seemed like like he had model releases you had to
Oh, yeah.
sign.
Yeah,
he seemed like he'd been a professional photographer forever.
Yeah, he's pretty serious. He's a good photographer. Yeah,
He's an incredible photographer.
And I still see him quite a bit, like around. He still lives here.
Cool.
But yeah. He was sort of the first photographer, and then.
So at that point, do you kind of crew up with him a little bit, and then start
we ended
thinking
up doing a whole bunch of trips and a whole bunch of stuff, and then I think I got into filming. Like I think filmed with Adventure Scope maybe
with Jacques.
Yeah, it wasn't actually with Jacques, probably with Beat Steiner. And Christian Bejen.
Amazing.
Yeah, filmed with them at the beginning.
Were you a fan of like Board with the World?
Oh
and,
yeah.
That stuff. It was like
it
pretty.
was like that was, and it also was Canadian.
Yeah.
So that was cool. There was rap films in them.
Yeah.
And then obviously then it was Standard or Fall Line Films and
Totally.
stuff. And that's who I probably would have. Hoped to shoot with at some point, and I actually did shoot with for a couple of the different TV series.
Oh, sick.
Definitely one I have a part in, and then I think another one, there's a movie, Blacklight. I think it's Blacklight. I got a part in that. Yeah, later on. But so...
Yeah, you did really well, like, internationally. Like you're saying, when you're shooting with Eric Berger, you're getting Transworld stuff.
Yeah.
And at that point, there was, like, Concrete Powder was, like... it was kind of...
Oh, yeah, the checkout in Concrete Powder, that was a help. That
Yeah.
helped. I had a checkout with them, and that was one of the first things. I just remembered that.
Yeah. That was what we would read, right?
Yeah,
You'd
of
read
course.
Concrete Powder, you'd read Transworld, Snowboarder if you get your hands on it.
That's all good. Buddy's moving the tables right behind.
But I remember seeing a lot of, like I say, international stuff. Because, like, you would see people in Concrete Powder, and you'd be like, it's my buddy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, just like a local guy.
Yeah, at that time, too, the snowboarding was just sort of starting to explode, become recognized, become international. Yeah, there was pockets of people in Whistler or Tahoe or, East Coast for sure, and then Europe, all this stuff. So, yeah, and then the money started coming in from all the company, and then all these, there was, remember at some point there was hundreds of board brands.
Totally.
And stuff like that. And the trend, like the magazines were super thick. Now, I haven't actually looked at a magazine for a while.
Yeah.
I still, but in the last couple of years I've sort of kind of gotten over it. But now they're really thin.
They're back to normal. Yeah, they're back to, or not normal, they're back to something that isn't insulting. I remember opening those big, thick, like 200-page Transworlds, and, there's a good chance you're going to see a car ad or something that just didn't appeal to you.
Yeah, I think it was probably because the sport it was so mainstream getting mainstream, so big companies wanted to capitalize on it.
Absolutely.
And now it is just another sport.
Totally.
And even when you look at athletes and stuff like that, the ones that are probably making money are the ones that have corporate sponsorships.
Yeah, totally.
Or on TV.
Totally.
And, like I noticed just, the film athletes.
Yeah.
are sort of struggling a little bit.
Oh, totally.
Not struggling at it's passion, it's labor of love.
Yeah.
But then the other guys that are doing, they're competing. They're on TV. They have energy drink company.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That
but
whole part is
I don't
crazy.
know. It's I don't know. Evolution. It's just the way maybe the sports go.
Yeah, I think I said it on the podcast before. And I've thought it a lot lately. Like, there's probably a pretty cool story behind every mainstream sport. Like, basketball was probably pretty badass for a long time, or people that did whatever. Hockey, and there's probably some curmudgeon-y old guys going, it used to be better when it was just in our backyards and we were shooting.
Well, there's sport, there's stories in anything and everything.
Yeah.
That's part of, I guess that's, as I get older, I'm finding I'm quite interested in so many other things that I just never thought, just because it's new, it's refreshing, and, I don't know it.
Yeah, there hasn't been something as fundamental as snowboarding, I don't think, since snowboarding. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's all sorts of fringe things, like maybe kiteboarding or whatever, but they haven't.
Yeah, it's a board. So, if you look at board sports, the sport. When someone say board sports, it's automatically skateboarding, snowboarding, and surfing.
Yep,
exactly. Those are the three quintessential.
Yeah. Did you chase surfing?
Yeah, I like to surf when I can.
Yeah.
And, I can. Yeah, I don't consider myself a surfer, but I do like to surf, and if I can surf, I can and will.
Yeah.
But I don't really surf that much in the winter, and I don't go to the island that much in the winter. In the summer, a few times, and if I can go to Mexico or Hawaii or other places to go surfing, for sure.
It's awesome.
But in the last decade, it's
you have a 10-year-old, and it's probably been 10 years.
Or with my wife, and she's not really that into surfing, so you usually end up waiting on the beach or being told, okay, so when are you done surfing? But of course I love surfing.
Yeah, it's one of those things, especially in the Pacific Northwest. Seems like a lot of guys like Dan Donnelly and that whole Baker crew, like surfing was really important to them.
Yeah, I think a lot of like Temple and those guys have been surfing since, probably as long as they've been snowboarding. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I didn't really, I've been surfing for years and years, periodically, but I've never been able to surf enough to like really be proficient. Usually I go surfing and I catch a couple waves. And then if I go on a surf trip, by the end of the surf trip, my arms feel like I'm,
you're just about there.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm ready to surf as more and more and more. And the trip's over.
Yeah, totally. I feel the same. I got frustrated with surfing in late 90s, and I just was like, because the amount of effort to go from Vancouver to go somewhere to surf is so much that when you get skunked on a trip, you're kind of like, man, that was my one trip this year.
Yes.
And even if it was epic the whole time, I would only got probably a few bottom turns and a little bit of surfing. I could do that on my snowboard in a ditch for in an afternoon.
But it is the one thing. It is so like I find all like especially it's so different. Like not the basis of it, but just like where you are, what you have. Like one thing, you go on a surf trip and then you come back and you go, snowboarding or mountain biking, there's just so much stuff, so much gear, so much equipment, so many things to think about.
Totally.
And even I'm going to go snowboarding and sledding tomorrow.
Yep.
Hopefully pow surfing and snowboarding.
Rad.
But just all the mental checklist I've got to make sure I have everything for tomorrow.
Oh,
it's a whole bunch of it's a bunch of stuff.
I have a full kit of backup stuff in my car because so often I'll get up there.
Yeah.
I've done it twice already this year where I got up there with no jacket. So I'm riding in my mid layer with a vest over top. That's it. I'm just forgetful. There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
You get up there, you don't have goggles. That's the end of the day. You need to find go back down and get your goggles? Or?
Yeah, I've forgotten my boots a couple times.
Same. And that's a terrible one.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, totally. So somehow you get hooked up with Jackson and Grubwire.
That was... So, let me see. Chronologically, it would have been... I went on that trip with Eric. And I maybe got some clothes. Then, I started competing. I was competing in the BC series, the BC SF series. Yep. And starting to, podium or whatever, do, it was early days. And it was like half pipe. And was there a snow park? No, there wasn't the national, probably the biggest breakthrough was the national, I won the nationals in 93.
Oh, sick.
So I won half pipe and overall.
So then you're the national champ of snowboarding in Canada. That's amazing.
Yeah, for the amateur nationals, 93. Rob Dow was in it.
Yeah.
Scott Burke was in it.
Sick.
Emmanuel Krebs.
Oh, yeah.
All these crusty critters. And then the junior division of the same series was Devin.
Yeah.
What was Browner in there? Sand Sloan was in it. I think maybe he was in my division. I kind of forget. Kale, bunch of people. A lot of different people. A lot of people that are went on to do great things.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then, so do you continue competing? Does that really put the fire in you to compete, or?
I think I did some more competitions, but I was not really that competitive, really into it. I had a small foray into border cross as well.
That first couple of years that they did those Kokanee crosses.
No, I think I did a World Cup. I think I got a second in the World Cup.
Damn.
Somewhere, and I was it was kind of cool, but then it's so racy and so...
It was really racy in the beginning.
Well, it's even more so now, I would say.
Yeah, I don't watch it, so I'm not even...
What was I going to say?
I definitely...
Yeah, border cross is the actual idea of it's kind of cool.
Rad, yeah.
But it's just so, it's kind of jockey racy.
Yeah, there's nothing cool about the airs in it. That was the thing. I remember being okay, you're sucking up... They're building these great tabletops... And then you're just trying to suck it up because that's the way to race fast.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's first one down wins.
Yeah, you're not doing some cool shit in there. You're
not
just
doing this. And I think So I did a little bit of that, and then the nationals, and then after that, I actually I was riding Burton boards then.
Oh, sick!
Yeah, through Gilmore Sports was the distribution. So they were hooking me up, and then after I won the nationals, I think Paul Culling said, "Hey, I'm putting together a team on luxury snowboards. Would you like to do that and NFA too?"
Oh yeah,
so
you were on NFA, right?
Yeah. So those were the NFA, and luxury was sort of the big.
Was that when Mark and Kathy were still together doing NFA?
Yeah.
That was those were the golden days of NFA. The jackets were
totally.
so good. That stuff was amazing.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And we had a good team. Guys, Brian Savard.
Yeah.
Mikey Orr. I think Chris Engelsman was on there. Yeah, we had a really... Yeah, it was really fun. And then maybe that was... Yeah, and then filming-wise, starting to film with maybe Murray Seipel.
Rad.
And then maybe Treetop started at the latter part of that.
Yep.
And that would have been that taking us into the later 90s. Yeah,
right,
the end of the 90s.
So at what point do you get on Nitro? Because I remember
that would have been
big part of your career was on that.
Yeah, that would have been probably after Luxury. That was probably 98, 99.
Did they fly you out to Germany at all? Did you get to go?
Yeah, I've been there lots. Well, actually, I've been there many times.
Sick.
I would go there. We had summer. We would do. They usually do this team summer camp. So we would do it. They did it at various places. Garmisch, Glacier. They did it on Hintertux in Austria. And that's actually where I met my wife. Was in Austria.
Oh my God, that's awesome!
I was at a Nitro camp, at a summer camp. SPC camp was the big camps then.
Yep.
And then met them through there. But so
I'm curious about Nitro just because for a few years in the beginning, they were really leading in technology. Like the Pyro had like
a
deeper side cut on the heel and everything. And
they're as far as a board brand, I would say they're probably the top, like one of the top couple.
They're doing
brands.
really, really well again.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they're very, they're awesome people. Like
cool.
Tommy and Sepp, the owners, are awesome.
Yeah.
Great people. I think they own it outright. Like, I don't think they maybe have some investors or something like that. But yeah, they're great people. And like, and all the riders over the years, the different team, like, and they always have sick riders. Like now they have sick riders.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah,
I was, because you were there when the boards were all black. Remember they did black boards for like
we did.
forever.
Well, we did that. We had like we actually had some cool graphics, top sheets of these photos, like the Naturals series. Yeah, those were really sick. And then Lucas, the Huffman started riding for them too.
Oh yeah,
right. Maybe a couple of years into when I was riding for them, and so it was so much fun. Got to do lots of cool stuff, and that sort of segued into me maybe filming with other companies like Absinthe and
Rad.
Standard and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun. Hey?
Yeah, and that was probably the first half of the 2000s.
Yep.
Yeah, and then
How were Mike and Dave to work with? Like, did you fly down, or they would they'd come up here? The Hatchets.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I shoot with them. Oh no. Yeah, they would have a filmer up here too, though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Like I think Gary Pendergrass filmed for
Gary,
them one.
Rad.
So, 1 year, maybe Gabe Langlois did. Who were all still good friends with. Or I was super close with Gary up until the end.
Yeah. Long ride. It's been a long ride. Yeah. So how did you transition out of being a professional snowboarder?
Yeah, well, sponsors started to, the money started to dry up a bit. I was getting older. Mm-hmm. So obviously starting to have to switch gears and figure out what's going to happen. At the same time, one of my close friends, Stu Andrews, he's he's a snowboarder too, but he was not really in the industry. He worked in like production commercials, and then he had a company, Whistler Creek Productions, and he's like, hey, we should combine forces because you have a bunch of mountain outdoor knowledge, all this kind of stuff. And then at the same time, we were always organizing. We had a team manager, sort of. Sometimes we would have that, but when it would come to trips or putting together shoots and stuff like that, we kind of always just did it on our own. Most of us at that point, there wasn't really like nowadays. There's more, there's more help. Like there's agents and
input from
marketing. There's marketing plans and teams and all that stuff. Before we just sort of DIY'd it, or you would hook up with like a film company to do a film part,
right? And
a sponsor would kick in a couple grand, a few grand, or whatever to make you film with them. Yeah. So I had a bit of experience as far as, so it was sort of an easy transition to get into more in production, and then also as well, I started like helping. I like would put a couple shoots together for like Burton or like. Nike, just through contacts.
Right.
Like they would like, we went to Braylorn. This was probably in the when would this have been? Early 2000s? No, late 2000, like 2000, right around 2010. Yeah, I don't know. It's a blur. But
like who were the riders for it?
Well, Terrier, Freddie was there. Who else? Kazoo.
Amazing.
That was like, these are spread over a couple different years. UC.
Yep.
Mikey, Renz, thing.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, this was like not all one trip, but
no. I hear
John Jackson too. And then So
sick.
So I did some stuff with those guys, but then also Bobby Meeks.
Yep.
Was running the Nike program, and I'd done so I he hired me to do a couple different things. Yeah, it was just started doing more production things, and then also some commercial stuff. I also have a friend that's a key grip.
Yeah.
So I actually worked when, at some point I needed to make some money.
Yeah.
When the money really started drying up, so I would work with him on like TV shows.
On real,
on real sets,
actual
and real
shoots.
sets, and got in the union. I did like that for a season
Yeah.
or a year.
So you're combining all these things.
And learning
that's
some
cool.
skills and just sort of learning the ins and outs of film production, like bigger film production, because there's things, nuances, and hierarchy, like the way it's done, and the way.
Did you take formal training for like backcountry stuff, like avalanche training?
I've got like the level, like the Canadian Avalanche Association, ABI. I'm certified.
Yeah.
I did some first aid, like the level 3.
Oh, wow.
And I started that. At some point, I did start to think about guiding and things.
Yeah.
And started, and I have like done that a bunch more, not as like a heli ski guide. More, I try to pigeon as like for filming, for production.
Yeah.
And I would sort of default as the safety. I've done it even last year. I'm trying it's sort of something I'm not like a certified guide, so
Gotcha.
I've had a couple predicaments where it can get really heavy, like even last year that I was in a pretty big incident with that snowboarder Brock Crouch. He was buried
Oof.
and he almost died. Like me and John Jackson dug him up, and it was a super happy ending.
Yeah.
But just like makes you think, like, legally it's a bit of an area.
I looked into the guiding thing.
Yeah.
I asked a certified mountain guide. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, can I do it on a snowboard? He's like, sort of. Yeah.
Well, you can.
He's like, there's a few things you want to get on your skis first. And I was like, I've never skied. So he's like, you're going to probably want to learn to ski just to get, this and this and this.
A lot of guys don't do that, though. Like ACMG, like, Scott Newsom. He's
Yep.
on a snowboard
Yep.
only. And Justin Lamoureux, too. And then, like, most of the guys at Baldface, they're all on snowboards.
Right.
They have split boards that they're riding.
Yep.
But they almost all exclusively snowboard, and they're guides, lead guides, and,
Rad.
stuff like that.
It takes a long time was what I got out of it.
Yeah, it
I was
definitely
like,
takes
wow.
few years, and there's different levels, right?
Yeah.
You could by next year, you could take some certifications and be to where you like could tail guide.
Tail guide.
Yeah, like me,
Yep.
I could go and tail
Yep.
I'd need to refresh a couple of my my first aid and
Yep.
stuff, but I could easily go and tail guide.
Yeah.
And then to go and do, and then it's just a matter of doing the like CSGA. If you're going the CSGA route or the ACMG, the two different guide, mechanized guide. CSGA is more for like heli skiing, snowcat, things like that. ACMG is more as that international mountain guide association where it's a little more everything, but also through touring and ski touring and stuff like that.
So is that something you would still keep in your back pocket as something you might do one day, or?
No, I don't think so. No, it's not that. It's just that. Take a bit more commitment. It doesn't, make a ton of money.
Right.
It's not like it's only about making money, but definitely at my age and my point of my life, I need to make some money.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of enjoying what I'm doing, film production, and it's a bit of a grind too, especially being a freelance person. But it's been good.
You set your rates, and you've and
then it just depends. But it's been good.
That's rad. Yeah, it's cool that you've been able to make a go of it in Whistler.
Yeah,
like you said, there's a lot of people that
it's a pretty busy, like for production. Like it's a busy area. There's always stuff going on, especially because of the mountains, the snow in the summer.
Yep.
Yeah. You be surprised how many calls I get in July for people wanting to know, is there still snow? Like, if we want to shoot something, because come in the summer, they're shooting stuff for Christmas, so they want to know, oh, yeah, can we, is there a snowy cabin and stuff like that? I'm like, well, no, there is snow. We can fly up to snow.
Yeah.
And, yes, there's cabins. There's no snow, but we could, like, make it look like snow. How much money you got?
It's unbelievable.
It just really comes down to money.
I remember I went out for an audition. There was like a casting call where they just called.
Yeah.
I was working at the boardroom. They're like, any snowboarder that wants to go for this Kokanee commercial. Yeah. And Sandstone ended up getting it.
Okay.
And they flew him to, like, I don't even remember where, somewhere in South America.
Okay. Yeah.
To just be, just to get that
happens.
snow,
for
right?
Sure. For sure.
And I was like, holy jeez.
Yeah,
that's.
yeah. Well, they, depends on the commercial, but they spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So much money.
It's not unreal. More, I'm sort of fully immersed in it, so like nothing surprises me.
Yeah, we did a mild 7 Japanese cigarette commercial up here, me and Jeff Keatley.
Okay.
And they put us up in a beautiful place, and oh man, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was like a week off work, and I got paid 3 times what I'd normally get paid. I could see doing that. That would, that would be fun.
Yeah, it's been fun, and it gives you now also just doing non-snow stuff and just broadening horizons. Now I'm like, because I've mountain bike, I do a bunch of that kind of work as well.
Cool.
Production and things like that. So.
How many days a year do you wind up living up here in a resort town?
What do you mean, living here?
Like snowboarding. Like,
do
you
snowboarding.
Wind up,
I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to go. I don't know how many days I've put in this year, but quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like probably, I don't know. I've probably snowboarded 20 plus days.
There's been some really good days in
Whistler
Whistler this year.
Well, yeah, like me and the family, we went away to Thailand in November, and I got back right before, right after U.S. Thanksgiving. Yeah. And it was super shitty.
Yeah.
I think I went up once just to check it out, and then maybe it was after the first week of December, it started hammering.
Yeah, really
good. And then I think I rode like 12 out of 14 days or something in a row.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've been up a bunch, and like same with my kids have been up like probably 15 days.
So is there a freedom of snowboarding being your own now, like, and not having to go up with a group of people? That just makes it fun again.
Yeah, it's super fun. It took me a little bit, because before you're so concentrating on filming your part, and all this stuff, so like you would weather and the snow and like to get out there and go, that you would just basing your whole life around it. And then the weather, like when you see a sunny day and you're like, oh wow, now I don't really care.
Like today, what was today?
Well, today was
Bluebird and
Bluebird, but I was like, when we were up there, because I went shredding with some buddies and it was insane. But I was like, oh, we should be sledding. Or we were actually, me and a buddy I've never done it, but we've been talking about doing a heli drop on Mount Curry, because I've never done it.
Yeah, I've heard that before too. How much is it these days?
It's like $100.
Yeah, it's $100 still.
Yeah.
For a single drop.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Yeah.
Do you get a pickup at the bottom, or
you can like shred
park your car
to your vehicles.
Yeah.
And it's like a big, it's
that's
like,
a gnarly mountain.
Yeah, there's like a couple lines. I think you have to rappel in. Yeah, but it's like just but it's not. I think it sounds sketchier than it is.
Right.
But my buddy did it last year, and he's like, we should do it.
Yeah, there's a guy from Squamish, Brian Sunday. I don't know if you know him. He's he told me about that probably 20 years ago.
Oh yeah,
like people have been doing it.
Like,
forever.
People have been doing it forever. Yeah.
And my buddies that live up in Mount Curry, Mount Curry was putting together a plan to actually try and put some lifts up there.
Oh,
somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a little too gnarly, I think. When I look at it, I'm like, where would you even start?
No, I don't see that ever happening. That would be funny.
Yeah.
But, it's fun. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Obviously, when I'm doing, like, because I have been working on some series, like, done some Red Bull series. Like, I did that Book of John Jay.
Yeah.
Season 2, I did that Sean Pettit, that Keep Your Tips Up the Ski series. I was the producer. So, we would be filming throughout the season, more or less. So, yeah, then I would care about the weather, care about all that stuff.
Totally.
But yeah, now, and I still like to get after it on my snowboard.
Rad.
Really, sure, if someone takes a picture of me and, things like that, but I don't really, pretty well regressed a lot as far as tricks. Like, I used to be able to do a bunch of, like, I haven't done a 540 this year, and did I do one last year? I don't know if I even did.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. 360s, yes.
Yeah.
All that stuff. But
sure.
And I haven't done a 7 for quite a while.
Yeah. You need the perfect jump.
I probably should.
Yeah, you may as well.
Should.
Yeah, you got to keep your bag of tricks, like.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of dudes talking about that too.
Yeah,
like,
getting pretty old, man.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah.
I feel exactly the same.
It would suck but yeah, pillow lines and cliffs and stuff like that. Yeah, I still love to do.
That stuff's
I
awesome.
do still love to get after it. And
can you do you still talk with Al Clark?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah,
like,
little bit.
would you go up there maybe? And take your sled up?
Gabe's cabin.
Yeah.
Gabe Langlois' cabin.
Yeah.
We stay there.
Sick.
It's like pretty rustic, sort of cool little beater cabin, but
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I go there, and Cholo and Jenna.
Yep.
We hang out with them, and Colin Adair has a cabin there. My brother has a cabin there.
Oh,
so
damn.
There's like quite a little
Community up there.
of people
Yeah,
that
for sure.
have cabins and stuff.
Yeah,
Sean
Johnson's
Johnson.
got
yeah,
one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So and then I see Al for sure. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah. Well, I just went catboarding with him 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no
or
way!
something.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was so good.
We're at Great Northern.
Yeah,
No
it's
way.
unbelievable. Those guys are just so good. We we had a great group. It wasn't just us. It was like 4 of us or 5 of us and 7 other people.
Yeah.
But like the laps were fast. We ate lunch in the cat. Like it was we didn't stop. I think maybe we stopped for tea for like 10 minutes or something. But like we just did lap after lap. Have you been up there?
I haven't been to Great Northern.
They've got a great tenure.
I've been to, like, all the stuff we've been sledding for many years.
Yeah. It's steep, and the snow there is like that lake effect on the weather.
It's so sick there.
It's incredible.
Yeah, like I could have, that cabin that Gabe, that could have been mine. Like, we were at, my partner Stu is his partner in it. He owns it.
Oh,
and he
rad.
wanted me to go in on it, but me and my wife were like, it's so far.
It's very far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you've already got a sled, you know the zones out here.
Yeah, and then I realistically have friends that have places there. So for the one time a year or 2 times a year, I actually do go there. It's pretty easy to stay
that's
somewhere.
sick. Are there any other places that you wind up during the winter that you're like,
we go to
I
go to Nelson quite a bit.
Is your family still there?
Yeah, but also company Free Ride that I work with a bunch. They have an office there, and they were sort of more based out of there. Now they've sort of migrated down to Seattle and stuff. But I still go there a bit
That's
to
fun.
go shredding, and I don't know, wherever I can, really.
What's your philosophy on pushing your girls? Are you going to try and get them to compete, or are you going to do any of that kind of stuff?
If they want to.
I'll follow their lead.
Yeah, if they want to, and I want them to be good snowboarder, and I'd like them to be into passionate about stuff, but I'm not. I don't know about pushing them, but if Cora wants to, like, I think there was a border cross coming up this weekend, and I was like, if you want to, or the bank slalom. I think we might try and go to the Neil Edgeworth bank slalom in the spring.
Cool.
But like that kind of stuff for sure. And the community, all that kind of thing is very cool. About snowboarding, and especially nowadays too. As I sort of find that, people like ourselves that are older now, we have kids that are snowboarding. It's like, it's kind of cool to see the whole industry. It's sort of changing. There's a bit of a revival with the young guys and stuff like that, and the parent. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
Guys like I interviewed Chris Rasman.
Oh yeah,
and I watched the Man Boys.
Yeah.
And the things that they're doing.
Those guys are great.
It's
awesome guys.
Yeah, very cool. Whistler-based thing again.
Yeah.
Guys
and they're
that
sick snow. Yeah, I
so
like.
sick.
I've traveled and done stuff with all those guys. They're
yeah,
awesome.
because they worked with Sean.
Yeah. We went. Jody and Chris. We went to Europe on a episode.
Oh, how fun is
them.
that?
Yeah, it was super fun. And then, did we do something with John Jay? Oh yeah, we did a Whistler backcountry episode with him and the Man Boys, and that was
That's
super
great.
cool.
Yeah,
those guys are awesome. I love. Rasman's fucking sick, super sick snowboarder.
all of those guys, unbelievable.
all
but
great
yeah,
attitudes.
Rasman's having a year.
Yeah.
He's crushing it.
Good style.
Yeah,
too.
did you see that big front three? Do you have Instagram? Do you watch Instagram videos?
Yeah, maybe.
Chris's front three a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
It's just so monstrous.
Oh, yeah.
That I've never seen anything quite like that.
He goes big for sure.
Yeah.
No, those guys are good. And then like even the younger, like the my buddy's kids, Chad Shomlack's kids, like Caleb and Jaden Shomlack. Those guys are ripping
Yeah,
young.
JF's kids are
JF's kids
destroying at the bank slalom.
No, it's very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So all that. I definitely would love my kids to get, stick with it and be into it. But
yeah, I'm in the same boat. I there were a few times where I was at the top of like a jump or a feature where the kids are asking like, what are we doing? And I'm thinking like, I don't have it in me to be like, jump off this, like go as fast as you can and just stand up on your board on the landing, like they have to have that on their own.
Oh yeah.
But
I do like even like Cora, because she's in gymnastics, but we have a trampoline and she can like taught herself how to do backflips and front flips.
That's so rad.
And I was like, yeah, you probably can do a backflip on a snowboard. She's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, yeah, you just got to find the jump. But you can do a backflip like she can do a backflip standing.
Oh, wow.
Pretty well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, you should be. And she's like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, if we find the right jump and stuff, I bet you could. You'd probably do it first try.
Yeah. Yeah. That's sick.
Yeah,
That's fun. Yeah, my kid, he has a friend who does a lot of flips on the trampoline. And there's trampoline parks just out in Richmond. And they've been going a lot. And I wasn't really paying attention. 'Cause he's 15, right? Like, so he doesn't really want to hang out with me. But over Christmas, we went to the trampoline park, and I was blown away.
Oh, yeah.
He's so good at these, like, from your back to your front, flipping all over the place. I'm like, damn, if you bring that onto the snow, that kind of air awareness.
Those tramp parks are pretty crazy.
They're beyond.
Yeah.
I can't even believe, like, his friend's doing doubles. There's kids out there regularly doing doubles all the time.
That's how all the progression happens, right?
Yeah.
Because all those guys, or some of them are taking it then to the snow and look at, like you turn on I think it's the X Games, isn't it, going on? Starting this weekend or something?
Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah,
I don't follow competitive snowboarding at all.
I watch, just some of the guys I know.
Yeah.
I watch it to see what
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you pretty tight with Sansalone?
I know Sansalone.
When he won the X Games, that was just such a game changer for that guy's career. Hey, like it was like
that was a good. He's good. Yeah, I've known him for many years. I also just shredded with him at the beginning of the year, and then I was at Baldface for that avalanche course thing with athletes and stuff. So I was at that. I was and he was there and stuff. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. I wanted to go to that, and
it's a very cool course, very educational.
Yeah, like with Buff, right? Buff teaches it, and then
Buffrey and some Endymion. It's like a pretty intensive course too. It's like 3 or 4 days of you're out in the field. You do a couple runs, fun runs, but for the most part you're digging pits and then talking about rescue, and then at night you have some discussions, and then usually there's a case study. That's what I went there to give a case study of that accident that I dealt with in the spring.
Rad.
And Brock was there as well and stuff, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool to bring the people that actually like
yeah,
the real life
situation. It's pretty humbling to talk, to listen to someone's story too, and
totally,
to hear, and then just to hear the outcomes and what went well, what could have done better, and things like that. One
of the guys that I interviewed fairly early on was Ken Wiley. Do you know who that is? He was the tail guide at La Traviata when Craig was killed.
Oh, no.
And he had a crazy story afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
Like it really ate him up.
Yeah.
And he took away from it after years of thinking about it that you need to really speak up. Like if you're the tail guide and the lead guide is kind of like forceful and telling you, barking at you, and you don't feel right, you got to speak up.
Yeah.
So that
that's completely it. If if someone feels like this, you definitely you gotta say something.
Yeah, find your voice.
You just never know, right?
Yeah. Well, so for me, that's kind of why I'm not pursuing any sort of guiding type thing. Is that I have a really hard time with being at that beautiful zone.
Yeah.
And then not going. Like if we've done all the work to get out there, it's almost like, for years and years we just went on feel. We really did.
Yeah.
So, and once you start actually analyzing like the snow, Jeff was saying the more you go, the more you know, the less you go.
Yeah.
Like really.
Yeah.
Whereas
to a point for sure.
Yeah, because like once you're really risking your neck if you're not doing the
well
right.
you gotta do your due diligence of looking into things, reading up on stuff, reading about weather. There's such a huge and then and then also ultimately going with your gut, how you feel, and if you don't, there's always another day.
Well, that's the thing for me. My gut always feels like, it's good to go.
Well,
So I recognize that myself.
I am too like that. I'm usually like, it could be, but I bet you it'll be okay, things like that. But you never know.
You just don't. You got to be safe.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line of it.
For sure.
I like to go with people where they're very. Like they love doing the safety thing. Like my friend Steve from Burton, he's taken a lot of courses in the last few years, and he just recently bought a place at Baldy, and he moved up into the interior. And I love going with him because he's just like he's into it. He's got all the gear and he knows how to use it really well. And I sit back and drink some tea and go like, "How's it look? Oh, it looks like it's going to be good. All right, let's go." I prefer that.
But there is it is pretty good to at least have the basic, educate, to know what.
I'm
to talk
way more aware now.
To talk through scenarios, if this happens, what would we do? That's the thing as a group to talk through that, because that's important. Because when shit goes sideways and shit hits the fan, it sucks.
It's scary. And in those moments, I got swept down into, I think it's called Rumble Canyon at Mount Baker.
Okay.
And so many things are going through my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, the board's an anchor. I should probably pull off the board. But then I'm also thinking, I'm feeling waves of snow hit my back.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking, okay, it's halfway up my back. If I bend over it might go over my head the next one. I'm trying to sit up tall. And then I'm looking, I'm like, am I going to slide into rocks over there? I'm kind of, everything's going through your mind all at once.
Yeah, and it's quick, man. It goes
super quick.
Yeah, it's...
And then I was shook for a few days after, wow, we should have known not to go there. We had a lot of fair warning.
Right.
The run before that, everything had slid, and we were on the same aspect, just further down. It was like...
You got to look at those cues and really take them in.
And be smart about it and stop. That's what I'm talking about, is that we drove all the way to Baker.
Yeah.
We braved, there was snow on the highway the whole way there. It took us 3 hours to get there. And then we got there and the whole place was tracked.
Right.
And I'm like, well, we've got our bags. We have our gear. So let's head out the gate.
Yeah.
And there's no worse feeling than being the first person there at Baker because the people are so hungry. If it's good, someone's going to have been there.
Yeah.
Like, so now you're in charge of figuring out why has no one been here?
Right.
Probably because there's a 70-centimeter storm slab.
Right.
Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Don't go.
Yeah.
Dummy. But we've already done all this stuff to get to where, and then it looks so good, and then you go home with your tail between your legs.
Yeah. Or you just make a different route. You pick a different aspect, or pick something else that's maybe less challenging, less.
Yeah. With a bigger out and with safer
or
lines.
Just, or something that's tracked out. Things that That's
what happens. Yeah. I mean, and that was a big learning experience for me and the guys that I was with, I think.
Yeah.
And you just have a bunch of those over the course of your life.
And that's usually what happens. You learn a ton of stuff from mistakes.
Yeah.
Mistakes and experiences. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for talking to me, man. It was really a pleasure to meet you and hear your story a bit.
No worries. Yeah, there's it's been a pretty good ride.
Hell yeah, dude.
And it kind of keeps going.
Yeah,
different aspects and stuff, but I still love snowboarding and love being outdoor. Love still getting after it.
Very inspiring story.
As I'll be doing the same thing tomorrow and hopefully in 10 more years.
Yeah. Yeah, do you see guys, like one time I was at Baker on the chairlift with a guy who was 10 years younger than me, and Eric Janko, 10 years older. Yeah. Like, so a guy in his 50s, a guy in his 40s, a guy in his 30s. You got some guys in their 50s up here that you look up to?
Yeah, that I don't really ride with, but yeah, there's for sure.
You see them and you're guys. Like, oh man.
Yeah, I always see. There's
like that.
Yeah, and I can actually pretty well foresee doing this, my 60s, maybe not doing the same level.
Right.
But I also am probably not doing the same level as I did 10 years ago or 15 years ago now. But, still being out there.
Are you taking steps? Are you, like, stretching? Or were you already a stretchy kind of person?
No, I'm not. No.
Me neither.
I need to start. I stretch a little bit.
I stretch now.
Try and eat healthy, all these things. Yeah, I don't party as much as, I like to drink. I like the occasional beer, or I like drinking beer.
Yeah,
but, But I'm not going out and getting in the early days, going out and getting wasted every night. I've got to be up probably at 6:30 to get my kids out and all that, all that kind of stuff. So things change, but eating healthy. I'm sort of into what I've been drinking that bulletproof coffee.
Which is basically coffee with butter on it, isn't
coffee it? With this MCT oil, which is like coconut oil.
Cool.
And grass-fed butter, and then you blend it.
Yeah.
And
it's delicious, right? It's actually really good.
And then I've also, my friend, this guy from the States has his company, Hannah Living.
Oh, yeah,
and I've been eating that. He sent me a bunch of that stuff.
Sick.
It's like some superfood.
Shout out to Dustin Varga. I know he's always talking about the Hannah.
Yeah, man, that stuff.
Stuff.
Basically, I have the bulletproof coffee, and then I've got this little thing, and I don't even and I have tons of energy and don't even really eat until the later afternoon.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and I today shredded all morning with those guys. They were done at 11:30, but I was like, oh fuck, it's still pretty good. So I went over by myself to Whistler side, because I just jump on the peak to peak, and then ran into a couple and ended up doing a couple, peak chair, peak to creek runs.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, spent a couple more hours than I thought I was gonna, but I didn't, I wasn't that tired. And
it's midweek, and it's Bluebird, and it's and it snowed crazy.
Yeah, it was really good, really good snow.
Yeah.
But as far as just try and take care of yourself a bit better, or so you can actually do that. Try and not, so you're not getting injured.
Yeah.
I'm a little more chiller. I don't really do the same stuff as
Yeah, you're not as hungry for giant drops and
or not as hungry. Period.
Yeah.
Not that. Yeah. But it's. I still love doing it. Yeah. Still get after it. Still froth quite a bit.
That's fucking awesome. All right, man. Thanks so
Awesome.
much.
Thanks, Eric.
FNRad shout-outs to Graham and Grantley Samodian. They ordered 4 wired snowboards last week and just picked them up yesterday. Fuck yeah, guys. Can't wait to shred with you. Shout out to Rob and Marcus from Grouse, who are in Japan getting crazy pow right now. And special thanks to Anon for supporting the show. And extra special thanks to Boardroom for shipping out the Dakine backpacks and tribute hats to the listeners who won them about 2 weeks ago. Be sure to come back next week for another episode of the FNRad Snowboarding Podcast, brought to you by SIA Productions.